Okay. So again, Green said something crazy, and we had to do a whole show about it because
Crazy though.
look, A Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul are two of the most important, most beloved groups in the history of hip hop. And I think in most people's minds, they're in like the same lane. So it like makes sense to like, compare and contrast them. And as with anything, we love both of them, but you can't love all your children equally. Everybody has a
Is that
favorite
true?
one way or another. If you don't think that you are your parents' favorite child, then you are not your parent. Because if you were, you would know. And they're telling the favorite, don't say anything. But here's the deal. Even if it's one iota, you love De La Soul or Tribe Called Quest more than the other. I love both of them. Green loves both of them, but he loves Tribe Called Quest more. I love De La Soul more. And we just wanted to talk it out a little bit, the difference between these two.
Yeah.
I
Give
believe,
your reason.
I believe, if memory serves, that Tribe came out first by did they not come out first by a little bit?
Are we sure? I thought it was De La.
Let's see.
3 Feet High and Rising came out when? You should know the year you was there.
Oh my God.
you was outside when that came out.
Oh yeah. People's Instinctive Travels was 1990.
Yeah. I remember they were first to come out. Obviously, they both came, they're in the same
Well, 3 Feet High and Rising. Okay, so 3 Feet High and Rising was 89. So De La was out first by a little bit. And I believe they are a little bit older than A Tribe Called Quest. One critical difference here that may come out more as we go along, that De La's from suburbs. They're from Long Island. They're part of that whole Strong Island era of hip hop, Rakim, Public Enemy, and them. That was just bringing a different vibe to hip hop. A Tribe Called Quest, they're from the hood, as arty as they may seem. They are, they're from the hood. They're from Queens. So, and you don't totally hear that vibe in their music, or at least not in what Tip brings to it. Maybe you'll say, well, I hear it in Fife. I mean, from the beginning with De La, they established incredible rhymes, really interesting, broad selection of music that they would pull samples from. You had no idea where they were going to pull from. They loved P-Funk and George Clinton as much as all of us in hip hop. But then there's a jazz sample, and then there's a sample from a French record where they're teaching children how to count, and then a television show from the 1950s. So a De La album felt like you were running through this incredible encyclopedic breadth of opportunities to make sound into hip hop.
I think, would I say Tribe Called Quest is way better than De La Soul? Yes, I would say. But for me, as a personal taste, do I love them
Really,
both?
Negro.
Of course. Here, I gotta be hyperbolic, right? The thing that you just said about what they're prolific, can I kick it as critically and commercially acclaimed that song is? That is a Lou Reed sample. No one's thinking about doing that. No one is pulling from these things, pulling from bebop, rock, taking Led Zeppelin drums and sounds and creating this whole thing, making a song called Steve Biko. Like, we're ingrained within the culture. We're worldly. We're thinking about it. Plus, we're from the hood. We're doing what De La Soul does, but we also have a little bit of edge when it comes to the critical space. I think that's what pushes them over. Like, they're just a little bit cooler, more
I mean, Tip
into the culture than De La Soul is.
Tip is extremely cool. Pos and
Exactly.
Dave are also, extraordinarily cool.
They are cool guys. I mean, they're the
Pipe
legends. Let's
as
get that
well.
right.
I mean, Tribe's first album, they really push in directions that is very rare, even to this point in hip hop. Like a song like Bonita Applebum and I Left My Wallet in El Segundo.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing stuff like that at all, even to
Today,
this
even.
day, and like I respect that immensely. But De La is doing the same sorts of things that like nobody else would do. And part of what is so fascinating about De La Soul, they create an image on their first album. They are known as hip hop hippies, right? They're softer, right? They're more intelligent, they're more intellectual. Their vibe on the first album is, hey, we're not here to fight. We're here to make music. We're here to have a good
Mhm.
time. So part of what happened, because I studied the history of the group, is they went on tour and people stepped to them like, "Oh, y'all are suckers," and they're like, "No, no, no, we are not suckers. We can fight. We are 6 feet tall. We are big motherfuckers, especially Maceo. Like, we'll kick your ass." So the second album becomes a conversation about De La Soul is dead. That image you knew before is not real. There's a song that is basically about, yes, we can fight and we will fight you, right? Don't test us. But they're like changing and challenging the image that they were given and that they disseminated themselves from the first album. This is one of the most extraordinary things that we see in hip hop history at all. That they are making an album about their image and saying, we are changing our image in real time right now with this record. We are critiquing ourselves, we are mocking ourselves, and we are redirecting you to this is who we are. And
You think people accepted that though, largely though?
I
I
think
don't feel like they
I think
did.
they did because we came away from the second album with a sense of, oh, these people are much more mature, much more thoughtful, much more deep than we thought on the first album. Because there was that differentiation of there's hood niggas who make hard hip hop, real hip hop, and suburban niggas who don't. And this album, De La Soul is Dead, was a gauntlet throwing of like, no, 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 no. Just because we're soft, just because we're suburban, just because we're intellectual, doesn't mean we're not black, doesn't mean we won't kick your ass, doesn't mean we're not really part of
Yeah,
hip hop. Because they're talking about what it means to be black. And they're like, of
I, I
course
I
we
hear
are
that. I
black.
think that though we have to, since that's so long ago, talking about 1989 to now it's 2025. Okay,
So
since
long ago.
that is very long. That's a long time ago. Now it's 2025. I'm trying to say that how does this hold up? We don't have to look at it through the spectrum and the place that where it was at that time. It's like, how did this change over time and what got created? De La Soul created. I'm gonna give them that they kind of invented this lane, right? They invented this lane of the avant-garde hip hop scholar and explorative discovery album, right? Then comes Tribe Called Quest, but Tribe Called Quest perfected it and it was consistent. That brand of the people who are coming from the left field, but are still going to give you some hard hitting tracks and still feel like it's of the culture 100%, but it's going to be different. Tribe did it on every single album till the last one that they dropped, right? Whereas De La was more expensive. Since they kind of invented it, I don't think that the different lanes that they went into and all the places that they went to didn't hit as hard because it felt less consistent. And that's where I think that De La
I don't
lacks
know.
in comparison to Tribe. They are less consistent great albums, and less consistent visage in identity, whereas Tribe never changed and always had that identity.
I don't know. I mean, Tribe definitely changes going from album one to album two, right? When they go into the low end theory, they're more mature. They have right there's a boyishness to People's Instinctive that you definitely hear on Luck of Lucien and Benita Applebum. And I mean, Benita Applebum is like a boy's approach to love, and he's idolizing this really pretty girl, and he like almost sees her with like fantasy goggles, and like there's a bubbliness to the way that Tip does his voice. So it's purposely juvenile, right? There's a cuteness, there's a boyishness to it. The second album, no, we're not boys. We are men. We like jazz. We are critical of date rape. We are critical of shit going on in the industry, rap promoters. I mean, this is an extraordinary album, right? This gives you Scenario, which is one of the great records of this whole era, one of the great records of all time. But this is a development to them, right? They are much more overtly jazz forward on this, right? They are dominant in the jazz hip hop space.
Which I think has been an aspect of their sound throughout, and I think it's just a little bit more cohesive.
But it's album 2 where it really gets going, and in album 3, Midnight Marauders, they move to something different. They're not really jazz like on Low End Theory, right? This is still Award Tour, which is incredible. Sucker Nigga, Electric Relaxation, which is one of their great songs.
Jazz.
But this is less jazzy and a different sound. I mean, Midnight Marauders is cool, but Balloon Mind State takes
What do you mean Midnight Marauders is cool? That's one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. It's perfect.
I mean, it's
literally heralded as like their best album.
Well, I think that's a mistake because Low End Theory is definitely their best album to me.
That's some off the wall thriller shit. Pick one if you want. But Midnight Marauders is the thriller of the two.
But what De La comes back with on their third with Balloon Mind State is really thoughtful and really powerful. Break of Dawn, I Am IB, Area, Patty Duke, and Focus. I mean, these are a lot of great records for them, and they don't have the hit making ability that De La that Tribe does. Tribe has more hits than De La does.
Where's De La on this cover?
On the Midnight Marauders cover?
Oh yeah, they're right there in the front. Yeah.
I mean, these guys are super close friends. So
they of the same ilk. They are that's why we're comparing them. But it's like
then what De La does on their fourth joint, Stakes is High, is like, wow. Like, this is like a really interesting sound, a really powerful approach. Super MCs and the business with Common and Big Brother Beat with Mos and some of the other joints they're doing here. Like,
let's wrap this idea up with this. Whose catalog for catalog, and the last album they just did too, we can even include, do you feel that De La is more consistent with quality of music?
See, I think that Tribe is really 3 great albums, right?
I'd say 4, but okay.
What are the 4 you're calling for Tribe?
I like their last album, We Got It From Here. I think that's classic. So the first 3, and We Got It From Here, and the Love Movement is a mixed situation, but I don't think any album is bad. They don't have a bad album.
No, I don't think they have a bad album. And I think, when I started to think about people like De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, they're musicians of such a high level. It's not like that was bad. It's like that did not fit my taste. But you did what you wanted to do. You accomplished what you wanted to accomplish. It might fit somebody. Clearly, you guys love it. And I don't, I don't take off points because our tastes don't align in that moment. It's just like, what does the artist want to do here in this moment? This is what they want to do. Okay. And, I can't say one is way better than the other, but I think about all of De La's first 4 I love. After that, they're getting a little bit older. It's very difficult for anybody to do it over and over and over through years and years and years. Everybody falls off. So when they start getting to the AOI
Pretty good.
stuff in the 2000s to late 90s, like it falls off. This doesn't hit for me.
Hmm.
But the first four, my God, I mean, De La Soul is Dead to me is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. You know, 3 Feet High and Rising is incredible. Stakes is High and Bloom Mind State are very important. So I mean, that's an incredible four to me.
We could go with 4-4. Y'all let us know what y'all think. Who you picking in the blood sport? If you had to pick one, Tribe Called Quest or
I
De
mean,
La Soul.
too, but also like, who is the out of the four MCs in this grouping? Who's the best MC? I think we
I'm
would agree
going.
that Tip has the best voice.
I'm
Just
going with. I
read the
think Fife
phone
and
book.
Pasta News is like.
You said Tip and Pause are even.
No, I'm going with Fife. MC.
You think Fife is the best MC in A Tribe Called Quest?
I think so. I enjoy his bars more. I think Tip has a way better flow and persona and voice. But my taste of the MC, I be liking his bars, and he be funny.
It's interesting because Fife is bars and he's funny and his persona with like, I'm into sports and I make punchlines. And I'm like, okay. And I always attach like a
Busted off on the couch. Now she got Siemens furniture.
you're right. I always
That's
attach
hilarious.
like an underdog vibe to him because I know I interviewed them on the first album. Actually, excuse me. I interviewed them at the very beginning of the promo for the second album. And Jerobi was there, and that's how early it was in their life. But also, I know from like that era, Fife wasn't that interested. Like on the first album, he was not that interested. And I think they were like, he's a little more interested in the street and does not see the long-term potential here. And they kind of had to like pull him in. So what he does from the first album to the second album is like this massive difference. Now he's focused, he's in there, he's bringing it, right? And he's partnered up with one of the greatest MCs of all time. I mean, the Fife thing is cute, but I mean, come on. Q-Tip has one of the greatest voices of all time, one of the greatest flows of all time. Whatever the fuck he says is pretty
When
much
I hear MC, I
awesome.
come from a certain perspective, and I 100% agree with you. I know who Q-Tip is, and I will never disrespect Q-Tip's space, right? In the zeitgeist. I'm talking about my favorites, and when I hear what makes me be like, where I remember in the lyrics that pointed, Q-Tip flows so. If you take Q-Tip off the songs, those songs can't exist.
Right.
Fife to me,
he's the star. You know that sound that they have on TikTok when they're like, they're coming to see the group. No, they're coming to see me.
Yeah.
They're not coming to see the Temptations. They're coming to
Otis.
see
Yeah, nobody coming to see you, Otis.
No one's coming to see you, Ali. They're coming to see Q-Tip. That's
Q-Tip
the fucking scene, right?
Yeah.
De La, just as a group, it's really the three of them, right? There's not like Tip is like the superstar. Ali is extremely important. Fife is extremely important, right? They always said Jerobi was the heart of the group, but he didn't really participate very much after they finished making the second album, really. And I don't know how much he participated in making the second album, right? He wanted to do something different with his life, and he's very successful over in that realm. The threesome, what?
What did he start doing? I don't know.
He's in food space.
Oh, okay.
He's in food. The threesome of De La, to me, much more equal, right? As far as their abilities, right? It's all three of them equally, with Prince Paul being the fourth member of the group. I love Pasta Deuce so much, and he says so many brilliant things and says so many things. He had a rhyme, I forget what it was, that he was like, I'm going to say it in June and you'll figure it out in December. I forget exactly, but something like that. And like I'm so so complicated. I'm so brilliant that you can't know what, but I could hear every word the first time I listened to the song. But what is he saying? We figure him out more and more as time goes on. And Dave did some of the same things, But just Paz was always my guy, and I always loved him. And like he's such an incredible MC.
I agree. Either way, you disrespected this album, so fuck everything you ever fucked with, because this is this is one of the greatest things ever made. When I say things, I'm not talking about, you see, this is like the cup was invented.
It's one of the greatest album covers of all time.
This is one of the greatest things ever invented, like the wheel, TVs, and Midnight Marauders.
And the cover of Midnight Marauders. No, it's a great cover.
Whatever, man.
$1 million in the bank.